so scared of what I can't understand. But here I am, next to you. The sky is more blue in Malibu.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Layla. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'd love it if you would stick around and subscribe. I'm almost at 2.5K and I'm going to be doing a huge giveaway once I hit 2,500, so I'm super excited for that. So this particular video today, I was going to be filming something completely different, and I'm probably still going to be filming this video afterwards, so if you see me wearing the same thing with the same makeup, that's probably why, because I decided to film two videos. But I really wasn't kind of feeling the other one. I wanted to do this one because I have a lot of story times that I want to talk about based on this topic. I did a video earlier on this year about what it's like growing up being half Filipino, and I got a lot of good feedback and a lot of people that could relate to me and, you know, just not being accepted and just being different from everybody else, being mixed. So yeah, I really appreciate your guys' feedback on that video. This video is going to be sort of similar to that one, but this is going to be a more positive note because I have really grown to loving being mixed and being two different ethnicities and just accepting myself, and I feel like it got a lot better once I got older. So I wanted to tell you guys what it's like being mixed, what it's like being half Filipino, and the perks of being half Filipino and mixed. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I love about being mixed is that I get to experience two different cultures, and I've always got to experience that growing up. I sort of didn't know the difference at some points. I always thought that one thing was a certain way, and then I would come to find out later on that it wasn't. I got to grow up very Filipino influenced. Like, my mom pretty much raised me. My dad was always working, like, all the time. He was barely ever home, and so my mom pretty much was a stay-at-home mom for the beginning part of my life, for the first, like, probably 9 years until we moved away from the town that I was living in. So she raised me very Filipino and very, very strict Filipino, and I got to, like, whenever my dad's relatives would visit, like from the States or from other parts of Canada and stuff, I got to experience how their culture was and how different it was. I felt like I was just so different from my cousins and stuff like that, about like behavior and how just things were in general, you know, like when we would go to restaurants and stuff like that, for example. So a lot of my mom's friends would come over from time to time and stuff like that, and I would, you know, watch them eat because we would all be sort of eating together. And in Filipino culture, it's always like perfectly fine to be eating with your hands. It's something that, I don't know, it's just accepted, and that's what a lot of people do. Once, like, my cousins and my relatives came from the States, from my dad's side of the family, because they all moved down to the States. So they came up here to visit, and I was eating fries with my hands at a restaurant and chicken with my hands. So it was kind of like, they kind of freaked out because I wasn't eating with a fork and a knife, and they kind of freaked out at my mom a little bit. I just kind of find that, like, so funny. Like, I was eating fries, you guys. There's sort of like differences in each culture that I'm a part of, and that was kind of like one of the funny ones. As far as like holidays go, we pretty much celebrate the same holidays. I feel like Christmas was sort of always like a super religious holiday on both sides of my family, because my dad's side is also Catholic and my mom's side is also Catholic, so that, like, holidays were pretty much the same on both sides. So yeah, getting to experience both cultures was amazing. So the next thing would be the food. Oh my gosh, Filipino food, if you guys didn't know, is like amazing. Amazing. If you haven't tried Filipino food, what's wrong with you? Go to a Filipino buffet right now and try the food, because it's amazing. I just was actually at Max's Fried Chicken the other day because they have a location here in Edmonton, and oh my god, it was amazing. So Filipino food is definitely probably one of the best things about being Filipino. Probably one of the cuisines that I can cook the most out of. I don't know, I can cook like a handful of dishes, and they're all Filipino. They're all like, they're Filipino, but with a twist, like with my own little twist to it. Like, I make pancit all the time, but I make it differently than most people do. I really like adding like Thai chili peppers and different seasonings that you wouldn't expect to find in pancit. So just a lot. So yeah, the food is just It's amazing. The food on the white side of my family, I'm gonna like call them the white side of my family, I don't even know what to call them, but the food on my Canadian side of the family, that sounds better, is like I never really got to experience it a lot. Like I don't really remember it growing up very much. Like my grandmother would bring certain things to the house on occasion, but it was mostly like, you know, like takeout food, and like she used to bake a lot as well. Like I just remember that sort of stuff, like baked goods, and not really things like, you know, casseroles and mashed potatoes and stuff like that. I didn't really get to experience eating that stuff growing up, but for the most part I got to experience a lot of Filipino food growing up. The other thing I love about being mixed is, you know, when you're at parties and people are talking about you, and say you're like, I don't know, say you look different than everybody else, and everybody else is like talking about you, but you can understand what they're talking about. Yeah, I've got to experience that, because my mom would always be like, if somebody's like ever talking about you and they're like looking at you at a party or something and they're talking in Filipino or in Tagalog and they say pangit, like they're not your friend. So, you know, just sort of stuff like that. I definitely cannot, like I can understand bits and pieces of people's conversations, but I can't fully understand or speak Tagalog or Visaya, because my mom is Visaya, but I just never knew the difference between the two. So a good example of this is when I was in the Philippines, my great aunt, I believe she was, yeah, my great aunt, she asked me something in Visaya because she wanted to sort of like teach me, and I answered her in Tagalog. So everybody just like burst out laughing. They're like, girl, that's not how you say it. Like, what the heck? For the most part, when I was at parties and people were talking about me, I knew what they were saying. So, you know, that's cool. Being mixed, like you can sort of get away with that. They think you're white or they think you're something else and they try to talk about you, but you know what they're saying. So that was cool. Going back to sort of the culture aspect, Filipino culture, everybody's just very tight and just very, like all the family gatherings and everything, everybody's just super close, and I just grew up with that. I grew up going to a lot of Filipino functions, a lot of Filipino parties. Another thing about being mixed race, for most of us halfers, I feel like you would relate to this a lot, is everybody's just kind of obsessed with you because you're mixed. They will tell you stuff and you're just kind of like even when you feel like you're the ugly one, or like you feel like you're the ugly duckling, or that you're different, they're gonna be saying stuff to you like, you should go to the Philippines and become a model because you're beautiful, and they build you up a lot. And I don't know if it's the same if you're like full Filipino. You guys will have to let me know, but everybody's just like, oh, you know, you could go to Manila, you could be a model, you could be an actress, like you're so pretty. They always go for like the lighter skin, lighter features and everything back there, so you could totally do this. And that's what I would hear a lot, and especially in the phase that I was going through at one point in my life where I just felt like I was ugly and I had no self-esteem. To be able to hear these things was kind of amazing. So another thing that I loved about growing up half Filipino is that you get to learn what Filipino time really is, and you get to come up with reasons about why you're late for every single thing, and you just realize that one day you're just cursed, okay? Like it just, oh my gosh, I am literally like late for everything, and I'm lucky I have people in my life that actually understand that. And like my boyfriend is also half Filipino, but he's like, I feel like he's on time for a lot of things, and I feel like just because he's a guy and that it doesn't take him like 10 years to get ready, but like I'm glad he understands that. So learning about Filipino time is kind of interesting because literally we're all late for everything. So if you invite somebody to your house for like 6 o'clock, say you have like a birthday party and you're like, okay, it starts at 6 o'clock, everybody will show up at probably 7 or 8. You just gotta know that. I don't know if a lot of you guys experienced this growing up that are Filipino. I'm sure most of you have, but literally we'd have rice for 3 meals of the day. I'd have rice for breakfast, usually like with egg or something, and then for lunch I'd have rice and, you know, maybe like fish or chicken, and then I'd have rice for dinner again, like rice and chicken or something like that, or rice and bacon or rice and something. So it was always a good time with food. Like, this is going back to my food thing again. Like, I would be the only person in my class because I went to a primarily white school, so I'd be like the only person in my class that would bring rice and chicken or rice and fish for lunch. Everybody else would have sandwiches and, you know, like those Lunchable packs and everything. I would not be allowed to have those. I'd have rice. I just like, I don't know, I'd have sort of like a full course meal on my desk. Like, I'd have rice, I'd have chicken, I'd have like soy sauce and salt and whatever. Thinking back to my childhood, that's one of the memories that I have that's like burned into the back of my mind. Like, everybody was always super jealous of my lunch, or just thought I was weird that I'd have rice and something else, you know, and everybody else was just like, why don't you just eat a sandwich? I'd be like, because mine's better. Not least was being able to go back to the Philippines, or being able to go to the Philippines with my family. I went when I was like 15, so I went when I was like, it was a good age to go because I wasn't too young to not remember anything, and I wasn't, I don't know, I wasn't older or whatever. But actually, I don't know, I take that back. Like, I would have preferred to go when I was 18, so my mom would be more willing to let me like go out and experience life there, because she was like super overprotective. She wouldn't let me drink, she wouldn't let me go to the disco, which was kind of sad. But I got to experience being able to go to the Philippines and experience the culture, and it just like humbled me so much to experience what other people experience, what people that live there experience. And it just, I don't know, it sort of like empowered me, if that makes sense. Like, it empowered me to do better, to finish school, and to try to be able to help my relatives, and try to be able to, you know, help the less fortunate people that live there, and being able to like donate stuff that I take for granted. Like, say I have a bunch of makeup, I clean up my makeup storage at least maybe once a year, and I send my cousin like a care package, and it's kind of like amazing. She always is like looking forward to it, and she always loves it. So I just sort of do stuff like that. That's pretty much it for my video. Those are the reasons why I love being Filipino and I love being mixed race. And I have some more story times for you guys. Story times that are not so good, because there's been parts of my other side of my family that haven't accepted me because I am Asian. If you want to hear more of those, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys soon in my next video. Bye everyone.
So let's let things come out of the woodwork. I give you my best life, tell you all my best lies. See me rolling, showing someone else love, dancing with a